What are some of the best LEGO minifigures of all time? Let's find out. Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to Daily Weekly Builds for yet another video. Today I'm going to be going through my top 10 picks for the greatest LEGO minifigures of all time. Now it's worth noting, as always, this is completely my own opinion. Your opinion will almost certainly be different to mine, and that's okay. Like I say, LEGO is for everyone and it's for you to have your own opinion of. And this list isn't really going to be sort of organized by any sort of particular trait of these minifigures. So if a minifigure costs 10,000 but it's a really awful minifigure, then I'm not just going to put that in number one because it's expensive. But likewise, I'm also not going to just put any old minifigure on here. This list is comprised of figures that either mean a lot to me or I just like how they look. Obviously things like printing and rarity can play a kind of part in that, but it's not going to be the definitive factor as to why it's kind of on this list. But with that out of the way, let's get straight into this video and I'll catch you guys on the other side. So coming in at number 10 on this list is actually a recommendation from Bradley, and that is the KNIGHTMARE Batman minifigure. This minifigure was exclusive to the DC Superheroes minifigure pack. It comes with an exclusive torso, cowl, arm and leg prints. And overall, it just looks really good. I mean, I can't really fault it. There isn't much more I'd say that could be done with this. Of course, this minifigure also gets points for not being ludicrously expensive or rare, and you can still pick up these minifigure packs on eBay for pretty cheap, to be honest. And I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a sucker when it comes to LEGO minifigures wearing long coats. I don't know why, it's just that kind of continuous print from the torso down to the legs. It just looks great. And obviously here we get the use of dual molded legs, which work really well for this minifigure. And overall, it's just a great looking figure, so I completely agree with Bradley on this one, and that's why it's at number 10 on this list. Coming in at number 9 is a minifigure that I think pretty much everyone has on their top 10 minifigure lists, and that is, of course, Mr. Gold. Now, although I did mention that rarity and price doesn't play much of a part in this list, for this minifigure it does, because it is a very kind of unique and rare minifigure. And while there's nothing really kind of overly special about the figure itself besides the fact it's gold, but the prints are pretty standard, it is the rarity that kind of makes this interesting. And although it's not a minifigure I would rush out to get, I can't ignore its kind of uniqueness and sort of impact it had on the LEGO minifigure community, because this was sort of the first kind of rare minifigure that I was really made aware of. The minifigure was available with the minifigure series and there was 5,000 made, which makes me wonder how many people out there just have one of these and don't realise quite how rare it is, and it's all just scratched up and dusty because they don't realise that they will get literally hundreds or even thousands for that minifigure. Coming in at number 8 on this list is another pretty rare minifigure that goes for quite a lot of money now, and that is the Silver Centurion Iron Man minifigure. This minifigure came in a poly bag, and I believe you could only get it with pre-orders of Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, a game which I never actually played. I played Lego Marvel Superheroes 1 and it was great, but I never got around to playing the second one. I heard it wasn't as good. It uses the Legend of Chima chestplate piece really well, and although Chima I believe was discontinued when this figure came out, it's kind of interesting that they use that piece, but it works really nicely for this suit of armor. It's got incredible prints on the torso, arms, legs, everywhere. It looks fantastic. It's a great use of dual molded arms, and overall it's just a really high quality minifigure, and I'm a massive kind of Marvel and Iron Man fan, so this minifigure is definitely one that I would love to own one day, but I don't really want to spend hundreds on it. Coming in at number 7 on this list is probably one that you're like, what? That is a really kind of basic choice. And that is Spider-Man from the Daily Bugle set. And I think this is just the best minifigure we've ever had of a classic Spider-Man, if not just a Spider-Man in general. And although we've had hundreds and hundreds of Spider-Man minifigures with all different kinds of variations, this is just a minifigure that gets it all right. It has dual molded legs, arm printing, and overall it just looks fantastic to me. I can't really find a fault in it. And to me, this is what LEGO Spider-Man minifigures should be. They should have arm printing, they should have the dual molded legs, because that's what Spider-Man looks like. And I believe this was the first instance where we got both arm printing and dual molded legs in kind of a commercially sold Spider-Man set. I could be wrong on that, but it's the first instance I remember of it, as every other set either has dual molded legs or arm printing. And this is just the perfect Spider-Man minifigure to me, and I absolutely love it, and I'm very proud to own this. Coming in at number 6 is a bit of a cheat one because it's 2 minifigures, and that is Marty and Doc Brown from the Back to the Future Time Machine, set number 10300. And I haven't got much to say about these, they're just both really good minifigures. The detail is fantastic, there's great detail throughout on each of them, and both of the minifigures represent their 2015 attire perfectly when they travel to the future. And of course, this minifigure is on my list because it's my favourite movie of all time, and I couldn't not have this on my list. Coming in at number 5 is actually a very recent minifigure, and that is the Mandalorian from the UCS Razor Crest. Now, this is probably the only minifigure on this list that I would probably consider not being on here, and that's simply just because I think better minifigures have been made, but just kind of where I'm at now and my kind of headspace for minifigures, this minifigure just kind of ticks all the right boxes. They finally gave us a new, more accurate printed helmet, which looks fantastic, and I believe they are continuing to use this print on a lighter colour helmet for future Mandalorian minifigures. There's just gorgeous details throughout on the torso, the legs, the arms, and while I prefer the Beskar armour overall, I can't deny how great this figure looks. And honestly, I think the Mandalorian has been one of the most consistently good minifigures throughout its run. Every single time we've gotten this guy, he looks great. Even in the earlier sets where there wasn't arm printing and really the prints weren't all that special, he still looked fantastic, and this is no exception. Coming in at number 4 is probably a minifigure that a lot of people might put on their lists, but mainly out of nostalgia, and to be honest, that's kind of why it's here for me. And that is just the standard Clone Wars Clone Trooper. Now, this minifigure was just iconic for Star Wars fans and even just LEGO fans. It's such a great, just general use figure, and it was fantastic to army build because you got loads of these guys in pretty much any Clone Wars set you could buy, and they were just great for army building. Now, they're not overly detailed or kind of special, but they're also just fine for what they're meant to be. I mean, the Clone Wars is a pretty kind of simplified animation style, and I just love how these minifigures look. Obviously, we've got variations with Captain Rex and Captain Gree, but this is just the one that just looks classic to me. This is what I have the most nostalgia for, is getting battle packs and getting Clone Wars sets and just having probably upwards of 20 of these guys, and I know many YouTubers and LEGO collectors have had well over 1,000, but yeah, that's why it's on this list. It's just classic. Speaking of classic, coming in at number 3 is, this is probably the most personal minifigure on this list, because it is Anakin Skywalker from LEGO set 7256 Jedi Starfighter and Vulture Droid. And the reason it's on this list is because it was the first minifigure I ever got back in 2005. This was my first kind of introduction to LEGO minifigures, and I couldn't not have it on this list. It perfectly sums up what 2005 LEGO Star Wars was. The printing wasn't excessive, there wasn't really much leg printing going on, if any, and it wasn't highly accurate. I mean, Anakin used that kind of hairpiece that at that time was used for every kind of female minifigure because LEGO wasn't really making too many different hair molds and head molds and things like that. But I think for what it was, it's not bad at all. Now, I totally understand that this isn't the best minifigure of all time. I honestly, if this wasn't my first minifigure that I ever got, it would not be on this list. I understand that, and I just want to make that abundantly clear. It has a lot of personal meaning to me, and that's why it's here. Now, coming in at number 2 might be a bit of a controversial one, but it's the Sam Wilson Captain America from the Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus TV series, and this was of course part of the Marvel Disney Plus CMF series. And I think this is just one of the best minifigures ever, because quite simply, it is so beautifully detailed. All of the arm printing, the leg printing, the side leg printing, which had only been used in, a handful of minifigures, not even that. And in memory, this is one of the most detailed official Lego minifigures of all time. Obviously, we've got that brand new hair mold for this character, and just everything just looks really great on it. I think the wings are probably the best they've ever been in terms of brick-built Lego wings for Falcon. Obviously, molded ones would have been lovely, but I have no real complaints about these. And just overall, I can't fault it that much. I think it's a really lovely minifigure, and I couldn't really think of a way to improve it. It just looks great, and I'm excited to see what they do for the Series 2 of the Lego Marvel Disney Plus CMF. And last but not least, coming in at number 1 is, again, a few minifigures at once, but I just love these minifigures. I can't explain it, I just absolutely love them. And that is, of course, the classic space astronauts. And this is including all variations, including the most recent one we got in the collectible minifigure series. And there's just something about these guys. I mean, even not from a nostalgia point of view, they're so simple and they just look great, and I'm glad that there's so many different varieties of these guys. And honestly, to me, it's kind of made them just a collectible, because there are these different variations that you can get, and you can try and collect all the colours, and they just look great. They're a timeless design, honestly. They look fantastic, and there is a reason why Benny exists. And it's because of how popular these guys were and how nostalgic they are. And they're just, as I said, pretty timeless. I just love these guys, and I think I only own 1 or 2 of these, but I honestly would quite happily go back and just collect every colour, because just having all of these on my shelf would be incredible. And as I've mentioned to Bradley, recently we got the upscaled minifigure set. I would love if Lego made a classic space astronaut one of these sets, because again, like I say, it's an iconic piece of Lego history, and I think you'd be kind of missing out if you didn't do that. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my list of the top 10 best Lego minifigures of all time. Now, you're more than welcome to disagree with me. As I mentioned, this was completely my own opinion. I don't expect everyone to share this opinion, and I think there's a few kind of cop-out minifigures on this list. But I would love to see what you think. I'd love to know what Bradley thinks, to be honest, because I only got his recommendation for the Nightmare Batman, so I'd love to see what other minifigures are on his top 10 list. So Bradley, if you want to make a video, go for it, mate. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, let me know what your favourite minifigure of all time is, or let me know your top 10 minifigures. But that's going to do it for this video. I will catch you guys in the next one. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.